2020. Think it's going to be a better year for Hack to Fish. Got some boat hacks coming. Got new camera gear coming. Still using my phone. Supposed to be shipping the camera and everything to me. But today I really want to talk about putting new line on your reel. There's 3 different kinds. And we're going to discuss the pros and the cons today on Hack to Fish. Like I said, 2020. Now, it's already January. It's going to be spring fishing for long before you know it. I know you guys are going to choose some line to go on your reels. There's 3 different kinds. There's Braid, there's Fluorocarbon, and there's Mono. Now, if you don't know the difference of these, I'm going to explain to this in this video. First of all, we're going to start with, this is the best way I can explain it. Braid has no stretch. Fluorocarbon has a little stretch. Mono has the most stretch. Alright, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, I don't want any stretch in a line I'm fishing. Well, all that depends on where you're fishing at. If you fish heavy cover, or if you fish rocks, Mono is probably going to be your best bet because it's the most abrasion resistant of all 3 of these lines. But first off, we're going to talk about Braid. Now, if you fish Braid, you're going to have to use Mono for backing because that braid line is going to slip up and under your reel, and it can mess up your drag, getting the fish in, but you don't want that slip in with your reel because it can cause you to lose a lot of fish. Now, if you're fishing muddy bottoms, Braid might be your choice of line. It's a little bit more expensive than fluorocarbon and mono. It's no abrasion resistant. Most people I know here in Tennessee don't like using Braid, only for catching skipjack, or I know a few that catfish with it. But if you get up against a sharp rock, it's gonna pop like that, and they're gone. But if you're going to fish Braid, the best way I could probably say that I would set up my rod, this is just my opinion, probably not the best opinion, but I would put mono backing on spinning reel or bait casting, and then my Braid, and then I'd put fluorocarbon leader line. Now, the reason I would set it up like that, after you hear the pros and cons to this video, you might agree with me and you might not. But I'm going to include a definition of how both of these lines, all 3, came about, and you can decide for yourself. Alright, now, fluorocarbon a little bit more than mono, a little bit less than Braid, but relatively it's in between both of these worlds because it's got less stretch than mono, more stretch than Braid. It UV resistant, so in the sun it don't make it weaker. It's abrasion resistant to Braid, and it's a little bit cheaper than Braid. Alright, as far as mono, it's relatively superior to mono, but that's why it costs more. It's a little bit thinner in diameter, but it don't stretch as much. If you haven't done any research on fluorocarbon, I suggest you do. It's more sensitive than mono. It's supposed to be a superior line, but like I said, it's more expensive. Alright. Now we're going to talk about mono. Mono is one of the cheapest catfishing lines you can probably buy. Even if you run your little line, if you don't like using fluorocarbon, you can get 80 to 100 pound leader line pretty cheap. Eagle Claw sells it for about $3 a roll. But mono has bad memory. And the reason I say it has bad memory is because when they make mono, they spool it on the spool still warm. So it forms that memory on that spool. A lot of people have certain ways they like to get the memory out. They tight the thing, stretch it out. I don't like stretching mono because I'll give you one good reason why. If you stretch it, the diameter is going to get smaller, which it's 50, if you're using 50 pound, if you make the diameter smaller, it's going to be another pound test line. And if I buy 50, I want to use 50. What I like to do is soak it in this. Alright, soaking this mono in warm tap water for about 5 to 10 minutes loosens it back up. It's not really going to affect your line because it's just like fishing in the lake. When the lake temperatures are warm, the mono line starts relaxing, then it forms new memory to your reel. You just kind of speed the process up. When you take it out of the water and you put it on your line, just put it on as usual. And when it cools off, it's going to have new memory on your reel, which makes it cast better. Especially if you're using a spinning reel. Well, that's about all the information I can give you on these 3 lines, guys. I'm not saying one's superior than the other. Like I said, that's why I didn't put Braid versus mono or Braid versus fluorocarbon, because all these lines are superior in a certain situation. They're built for a certain situation to fish. And as long as you're using it in the right situation, it will benefit you in catching catfish or bass or whatever you're fishing for. Well, that's about all the information I have, fellas, ladies. But I hope this information helped you, and I hope I could give you some information that you haven't found on YouTube. But when it comes time to put line on your reel, just look at this video. It gives pros and cons both. This year I've got a new camera, like I said, and we're gonna do some fishing videos. And I hope some of my fishing videos help you with some information. This is Hack to Fish, and I'm out.